So good to be back again and hosting this panel again. And this kind of is like a circle completion of how I started this day talking about leadership. And now we will take a different look at what leadership means to us and what will empower us to lead brilliantly well. So, as the topic itself says, that how has pandemic changed our opinion about adversity. There was one time we were complaining about a lot of things, but in pandemic we were praying all the gods of the world to get that back because the situation was so bad. So the flow would be talking about what adversity means to us now, how we are coping up, and also what is our inspiration, a continued inspiration to lead. And what will we do? The end that I would like to leave everyone with is what is that one thing that we will do for ourselves to empower ourselves to lead better? Starting with you. So, what does adversity mean to you?
So that's a very good question. Adversity, well, I had a very, honestly, privileged life. Went from marketing, media and television, consumer products, information technology now. And when the pandemic struck, the first thought was, oh my God, I don't know how to iron my clothes. It was, the paradigms are so different. And then as days passed on the corporate front and on the personal front, then you got to know that, things can be worse for very many people in very many spheres, and you really, like somebody rightly commented in an earlier panel, you don't know what the next person is going through. So the most important lesson on both fronts was it really doesn't matter what gets thrown at you. What is important is how you deal with it, with resiliency, with support. And I think support being the most important feature, right? At the home front, so if you asked me earlier for your KPIs, I would like draw out a big list. Oh, this is what I do at work. Now, if you ask me the KPIs, I go 3 cats, 2 children, 1 dog, half mother, half partner, and quarter me. And that quarter is something that still needs a lot of work.
Sure. Yes, over to you.
Yeah. Hi. I think it's been, on a separate note first, I think it's been wonderful listening to everyone and learning from each one. And I think, yes, it's a very pertinent question, adversity. And like her, I'd also kind of agree that, honestly, it was a more privileged kind of probably setup that I also had both at the home and office front. So I personally, on a personal scale, yes, adversity, if I were to just say that, didn't really mean personally for me in the tough times. But yes, adversity is really, what I really believe is that you can't really control, the events that are going to happen to you. But what is important is that you don't need to be reduced by the situations around you and how you can really turn around them and, as somebody rightly said, from struggle to hustle in the morning. So I think that was you. So I think that is what, adversity teaches. So I think yes.
I'll take this on. Thank you. Like our beautiful lady from Ghana, it's like we traveled 13 hours to be here as well. I'm from the Philippines, and my name is Anna. In our family, what adversity means is actually quite the opposite. I work in marketing and advertising, so there's always a saying in my family, never waste a crisis. So when it comes to adversity, there's always that opportunity to take control and look at what you can actually do. There's always that possibilities. And when we saw how so many brands were able to take advantage of the crisis by becoming, like what you said, billionaires overnight through the creativity, providing us agility to connect to one another. In our company, what we focused on was actually looking after our people and having that kind of brand book to take care of our people during the pandemic, which created ripple of effect that our biggest assets now know that we look after them, cared for them, saved their jobs, and no one actually died. So thankfully for that. But that for me is an adversity. Never waste a crisis.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi. I hope my voice is audible to everyone. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome on board. I've got used to this one-liner since past 27 years into flying. It's a pleasure to have you all here. For me, adversity means overcoming challenges. I feel every day is a lesson for lifetime. I'm really proud to be a woman, especially the only woman in the world in the top 10 in the aviation industry, dealing with aircraft spare parts business and aircraft charters. And my competitors, I'm very proud to say, are only Russian men, where again language is again a barrier, and Eastern European guys, and especially Russian men. So I always take it as a challenge. I'm really proud to say that I rank on the top 5 successful businesswomen in the world in the aviation.
Wow.
Salamat.
Wow. You know, every time I am hearing someone speak, I'm in awe that we, as just in this room, have accomplished so much. So this is the big wins, and we were talking about the small wins. One thing when we talk about pandemic is there was a lot of air of be grateful, be grateful, be grateful. And while we were feeling very low, there was this kind of a talk of, be grateful, you have at least this, be grateful. But one thing that I felt as leaders, now I'm moving to that little a bit of a paradigm shift. One thing I totally believed at that time, and I still have that unfinished blog, is that be grateful, but have the magic of wanting more. So one of the ways where she said that crisis is an opportunity. So for us, pandemic taught us to be grateful for a lot of small things, be grateful for life and everything around. But as leaders, if we were to inspire others, we should not lose the magic of wanting more. So you can be grateful, you want to more, and that's how you inspire. That is probably how I would inspire myself to lead better and inspire others also. I work with a lot with faculty and teachers, and they come with their issues, and they can be leaders, but then we have talked about so many different ways. We women face challenges when we are trying to climb up the ladder. So I think for me, that helped me to lead without the fear, have gratitude, but keep wanting more. And we do a lot of dual leadership, multi-dual leadership. So let's talk about us as leaders, despite small adversities, big adversities, or our own fears. And what will be that one thing that you would want to do to empower yourself as a leader and others as a leader? I hope it makes sense.
I think the one very important thing that we need to do is to let go, right? Always. It's sometimes, and not negating what people go through or their lives, but sometimes the biggest barriers are in our own mind. It stops us from progressing, and it stops us from mentoring or creating paths for others to move forward. And if that silo is broken inside our own mind, it would lead to a huge amount of progress. And that goes for both genders. With women especially so, because right now we are on an uphill crest, and may it remain that way. But it does help. It does help to give a helping hand. And like Apple said earlier, be clear that once you've mentored somebody, you let them fly. Yeah. So it works both ways. So you let go, so you can seize the day. So one value I live by is seize the day. It's okay to live for today, and that would enable you to grasp the best opportunities, deliver optimum value for yourself, for your company, for your house, for your people, And I think that would make then somebody a great leader, if they already aren't.
Superb. Too good. Yes, ma'am, please.
Yeah, I think I've always believed in something which is, my own growth is a derivative of my people's growth. So I think I've always lived like this, and I've been fortunate enough, and call it by default or design. I've always led the team that I lead within my organization is 100% women's team. So I think, and I think. Unlike the popular belief or the myth that exists that women can't work together and there there got to be differences, etc. So on touch wood, so far it's been wonderful. Honestly, because we've given space and defined roles for each one. So I think that is important. That and everybody sings in beautifully. There's a great synergy. So I think when we work together, we come together, we can do wonders together.
Superb. And I think also with this, if you would agree that when we give this space, especially to our budding leaders,
Yeah.
we probably will spot somebody who's good than us.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I think at that juncture, how secure we are, how evolved we are,
Absolutely.
that is what will make the difference of empowering ourselves. That's what
Absolutely.
I believe. That if
Absolutely.
I could have a lot of leadership mantras. I also mentor people, and when I see they are doing better than me, can I become the invisible leader? Or am I getting insecure and saying, hey, you will shine brighter? So I think that is where if we want to
This
evolve.
also reflects, just to add, reflects your own maturity
Yes.
as a leader.
Yes.
So I think that's important. And I mean, I don't know if I answered your second question. That was also, talking about how I will continue to inspire.
Correct.
As in,
Yes.
in terms of systems and processes, I'll tell you what. I mean, we always talk about, just to digress a little bit, especially in the corporate sector, having a minimum percentage of people, let's say, at the table. So where typically a criteria has been defined as 1/3 or 33% kind of a reservation. So in our organization, it's not just about a representation, it's also about giving voice to that representation. That is going to have a meaningful outcome because, and there is data that actually proves that the pipeline of this women potential actually falters at the first level itself. So from the entry to the manager position, there is a 10% variation between a male and a female counterpart. So that pipeline needs to be addressed. So in our organization, it's not about eventually having, more male leaders or more female leaders, but able leaders. So,
Who
yeah,
are very
thank you.
secured within themselves.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Please.
So, taking on the inspiring leaders for this new normal after the pandemic, I'd like to say that it's more of like creating that impact and sustainability for our people. As I said, I work in advertising, so people are our biggest asset, and sustainability comes from really being able to resource opportunities through like diversity, equity, and inclusion. Very different from this lovely lady who has empowered so many and provided jobs for women. We actually have to find and embrace diversity in our industry and be able to sustain that kind of quality. But what really inspires me is the impact of the lives, betterment their lives, regardless of whether they be men, women, or LGBTQs. What we provide is that impact of upliftment in their lives. And what inspires me personally is just hoping that one day one of my brat children will just say, I just want to be like my mom. And that's really something that I challenge with every single day. I just want to be like my mom. And if I hear that, I can die peacefully.
Hi, good evening. I feel leadership is when you set an example to others, especially being a woman, in the aviation industry by your life's experiences and your professional experiences. I work closely with African government, especially with 6 African countries, where I motivate the African women, especially the single mothers, which are very close to my heart. When it comes to Ghana, Uganda, Nigeria, Kenya, Gabon, and Togo. So I create opportunities for them in such a way which is already in the pipeline, because most of the Western African countries, they speak even French fluently. So I always believe, how do you motivate people? That's more important. In every industry, there are frogs in a well. There are people with frogs type mentality who try to pull you down because of their insecurities and inferiority complexes. It's up to you. How do you turn yourself into a deaf and dumb frog? Ignore them and come out of the well. Thank you.
We can do better than that in terms of applause. Thank you. I think to just wrap up whatever we have said and give it a beautiful conclusion, from let it go to the growth mindset to having somebody say, I want to be like her, I want to inspire to be like her, and to actually creating that platform where you can have women grow where they don't have those opportunity. We have a lot of takeaways. My only one request today to all of you is, you've been hearing such wonderful things in the morning. Take 5 minutes to write what are the 5 things that you will go back and talk to your team or your family members. I feel that sometimes we represent our teams, our families in these conferences. And it is so important to go back and share this joy with them, share these learnings that you have gathered, so that they also feel that as if they traveled with you. Yeah, so I think that would be a good way of having a debrief when you go back to your family and friends, and maybe stay inspired and learn from ourselves, our mistakes, and from others. So on this note, I thank each one of you. Thank you very much. Last panels are the most difficult ones, but we are doing it with a smile. So a big round of applause. Thank you so much. Thank you very, very much.